Welcome to the Tom Matt Show. You are walking through the front door of the refirement zone. And now, your host, Tom Matt.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode, what we like to call the Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much for being with us. However, you're picking us up on radio, on the podcast, on the stream, however, YouTube, all over the place. Get a lot of people asking me if we're on Spotify. Of course we're on Spotify. Of course. Always. If you go to the website, there's little blue buttons on our website, tommattshow.com, everybody. If you go there, you can click through to any of the providers that you want. If you're a podcast person, you just want to listen to audio, there you go. That's the best way to do it. I'd like you to go to YouTube because we get monetized on YouTube a little bit, and every little tiny click helps. So it's all good. So here we go. Last week, Chris Johnson was here. Been a minute. One of my mentors. Going to have lunch with him next week. Can't wait to see him. Comes over here just to give me a pep talk about my knee, but it was nice to get him on the show and record Nutritionally Refiring. He is the man, as you know, the CEO and founder of On Target Living. On Target Living. If you haven't been there, what's wrong with you? He made us better. That's a fact. No doubt about it. All right, let's talk about some future. I'm going to call this one Future Stars. Journey into and out of higher ed. I met this young man, I don't know, 5 years ago. Been a while. Another one of my gym rat surrogate sons. I mean, these kids come out of nowhere. The way this works is they're early morning people and they just bust their butts. That's all there is to it. Devian Johnson is an Evans Scholar. We'll talk about that because I didn't remember that, but I'm sure that we had talked about this in the past when we were training at the gym. But he's an Evans Scholar alum from Michigan State University. Earned his way through college by caddying, and that's what the Evans Scholars are all about. And I tell you what, I've had other Evans Scholars that I've coached and worked with before, and so if you're an Evans Scholar, you're like top of the heap. And if you know Evans Scholars, you want to hire these people. Throughout school, he worked with companies like Mike's Hard Lemonade, Rocket Mortgage, the Octagon, and leadership roles on campus, of course, pushing around 135-pound dumbbell while doing long walks with a dumbbell or a barbell on his back. Kids are crazy. Today, he is an Organizational Change Management Analyst at the Board of Water and Light in Lansing, using his lived experience, which continues to grow. I see his stuff on Facebook. His social media presence is awesome. This is the guy you want to follow, Dev Johnson, the king. I can't believe we weren't friends on LinkedIn. We're second connected there, but I want to welcome to the show for the first time, and definitely not his last. A kid that I've wanted for a long time. Not a kid no mo. He's paying taxes. He's paying taxes and doing the thing and changing the world. I want to welcome to the show, Mr. Devian Johnson. Dev, welcome, man. It's been a while. We've talked about this for a long time. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for the great and gracious welcome. And man, I just love your presentation. You are the man hosting me today. And, just thank you for giving people like myself a platform. I appreciate the time.
Well, let's talk about your platform. I mean, you've earned it, man. You've done the thing. You that's the thing about you. You show up. You do the work, man. You're always grinding. Now you're running and you're doing your thing, but you're always out there with that awesome positive attitude, which I love so much. Journey into and out of higher ed. I'm going to put that on the tail end of today's. But Future Stars. You're a future star. Tell everybody about This Is Your Life. How did you find your way at Michigan State University? Let's take the rest of this segment for This Is Your Life, and then we'll jump into whatever you want to talk about. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, life has a beginning and an end, right? And I like to find within my life story, there's a bunch of, peaks and valleys is what I like to call them. All right. My real kind of a valley in life really started when I was, just a middle schooler, seventh, eighth grade-ish. And just at that age, you start to kind of come into the world. You start to play sports. You start to figure out, what it means to be popular. You start to figure out who's smart, what it means to be smart. For me, that was a really pivotal point in my life. I was about 13, 12, 13, 14. And, I'm a Michigan born and raised. However, I ended up moving 2 schools, 2 middle schools, 3 high schools, 2 different states. Man, I have gone places and met people that I would have never thought. And that is all because when we're young kids, we don't have control of our lives. Tom is a phenomenal father, and I guarantee he was able to grow. You were able to grow your kids in a great controlled environment.
We tried.
Yeah.
We tried a little bit on that. You know, with you, when you guys are growing up, Dev, it's always challenging. Dev Johnson's our guest today, everybody. Future Stars Journey into Higher Ed. Yeah, it's challenging, but yeah, whatever. Your mom and dad did something right.
Yeah, they did something right. And the one thing they did right was they taught me how to live unexpectedly. You know, how to live in uncertainty. So I ended up having to move to Muncie, Indiana, you know, go Cardinals, go Chirps out there for all the Ball State University alumni out there. And I lived in Muncie, Indiana for about 2 years. And that's really where I came into myself. I found my purpose. I always recognized what my purpose was in life, but it really wasn't until my environment around me decided, man, this kid knows who he wants to be and who he is. We're going to capitalize on it. We're going to take advantage of, his positive attitude. We're going to take advantage of his ability to initiate and communicate and engage. And honestly, that's where I found a huge love for basketball. Indiana is the Hoosier state. And I was a naturally tall, gifted, God blessed me with some good genes, but I didn't know how to use them, So that's kind of where I started. I developed, athleticism. I developed leadership skills on and off the court. Shout out to the Ball Brothers Foundation and the Ice League. You can Google that and you can find a short 4 to 5 minute segment on me in something called the Muncie Local Ice League. And that was for an educational league that allowed middle school boys and girls to, play basketball as long as they had a 2.5 or above GPA. And something as small as that really helped me kind of find my purpose and find my true value in life. So I start there because starting there is where things in life started to become, in my environment started to change. The people started to be different. I started to interact with older, younger, Black, white, Asian, Indian. So, coming up in suburban Waterford, Michigan and moving, that was a huge culture shock. But what was a shock to the culture that I was in was this electrifying person named Devian. And that's really where the world started to recognize me. Long story short, I come back to Waterford, Michigan, and, I went to Clarkston for a little bit. I lived in Pontiac, but I ended up finding my way in the golf course, local to the Waterford, West Bloomfield area. And honestly, there's no better place in the summertime to be than the sun on the horizon. You got that dewy look on the grass, and you just hear the clanks of the golf clubs coming down the golf course. And that's kind of how I started my journey of professional development, character development, and really, trying to build a career for myself. It all started on the golf course. So I had no intention to go to school on a full ride scholarship other than maybe something athletic. But I knew that I wanted to be with the best of the best. And being a caddy, I realized that I had a great opportunity to continue to get good grades, and I had a great opportunity to become a leader amongst leaders when I found out what the Evans Scholars Foundation was. So that's really where my life started to take off in terms of really cementing a future legacy for myself. Tom, you have a great legacy, and I just think that's something that's super important for a person who knows that they have so much to give in life.
Hold that thought there, Dev, because we're going to go to break here, and I want to set this thing up because there's lots to talk about here. Devian Johnson's our guest today. Dev, Future Stars Journey into and Out of Higher Ed. I've done these episodes with students. Dev is a recent graduate from Michigan State University, very good student. Talk about that. We'll talk about more about the Evans Scholars journey as far as his journey into higher ed and how that attributed to his success in following through and now working in a very productive field, working for the Board of Water and Light here in Lansing, Michigan. And I'll tell you, I've been watching his growth for 4 or 5 years now. And this is the blessing of what I get to do in my life. I get to be around. I'm very, very, very happy and very grateful to be around these young people and watch them blossom into young people like a Dev Johnson. That's why he's here, to help us share his story on what he did right and what he didn't do so right, because there's going to be stories of stepping in the hole and busting your foot. It happens. It does happen. Resetting again, everybody. Future Stars Journey into and Out of Higher Ed with Devian Johnson. You're listening to The Tom Mann Show.
Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262. or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Tom Matt Show. Thank you, Sandy, for bringing us back. Mitch, Vanessa, our staff, production staff, doing all that they do on the video side, on the audio side, just doing great work. Great work. Today's episode, a little bit different of the journey into higher ed, but it's a journey into and out of higher ed with my guest, Devian Johnson. Dev Johnson, future stars. He's a future star. He's definitely walking his walk. Before we go there, got to say thank you to our sponsor for this segment, a couple of our segments, actually. Brock Fletcher and the selling team of Keller Williams Realty. Trust is their middle name. 517-853-6408. That's the office number. Please check that one out. Here is the cell phone number to Brock's pocket, 517-303-3262. I'll say that again, 517-303-3262. You can go online to kwsellingteam.com. You can go to the bottom of our homepage at tommattshow.com and click on through the nice banner that's down there. One of the nicest websites you'll ever find. The coolest thing about Brock, as we talk about, so easy to do the semi-reads that I do for him because we love them so much. They've helped us so much. We utilize their services twice now with selling Big House Holt and Little House Lansing. I'll do the testimonial that I'll do later in the show. I'm going to do about us, Sandy and I, and how we had no clue as to what we were doing, because I love doing testimonials for Brock. But Brock will help you sell your home without hassles like he did with us. He's got the staff over there. He's got Mike Deadman, who is the best buyer's agent in mid-Michigan for sure. He was our guy. Mikey, he's got Stacy, he's got all kinds of good staff over there. I'm remiss in mentioning all the names, but they all know who I'm talking about, and they're just the best. And so remember that it's the selling team of Keller Williams because they're the ones who invest money in marketing way before they ever get your listing. That's what puts them over the top. By helping us, they can help you. Please go to Reality of Real Estate on our website because there's like 20 plus episodes of Brock talking all different things about real estate, how we can get these young people to buy real estate. Like my guest today, Dev Johnson, future stars journey into and out of higher ed. Dev and I have been friends for several years now. We were gym friends. Like most of my college-age friends are all from the gymnasium. I see them, I watch them. If they're hard workers, we might get to be friends. He and I did, and we used to talk all the time. And I'm telling you, when he would haul around that 135-pound barbell on his back, walking, doing these deep lunges, no one else in the gym did that. I guarantee. And he carried that bad boy upstairs, and then walked around upstairs, and then carried it back downstairs. So there's my little testimony. Now, Dev, you're into your running, and so the transition. Are you still lifting like you did?
Oh yeah, I hit 5 days last week.
Good for you. Good for you. See, we'll talk about that. Well, first, before we get much farther, though, I want to continue the thread of your journey into higher ed because the Evans Scholars is very important for people to understand and support. Tell everybody more about the Evans Scholars. How in the heck did you find it? Because you're not the first student that I've worked with I didn't even know about the Evans Scholars until, 15 years ago or so. Now I'm very impressed with that. Please talk about that.
Yeah, let me start wide and I'll narrow it down.
Okay.
So the Evans Scholars Foundation is supported by the Western Golf Association, headquartered out of Illinois. And what they do is they have a college to career pipeline of deserving caddies who have a financial need, but also have a unique character background, and they're willing to invest in these high school students. They're all the way from West Coast to East Coast. They're at Howard. They opened up a couple new schools. So what the Evans Scholars thing is so much bigger than me. And that's why I wanted to start about that. Is it's so much bigger than me. They have a such bigger purpose, and I get to attach my purpose to their purpose. When I was younger, I realized my purpose was, helping other people achieve the best out of themselves. Okay. And being a caddy, there is typically a squad of more than one caddy in a loop. All right. A loop is one 18-round kind of, round of golf. And as a caddy, I love being able to support other caddies. I love being able to, serve the member that I was playing golf with. And honestly, I just fell in love with falling in love with something new. You asked me, Devian, years ago, hey, did you ever think about you be on the golf course? I said that was the most boring place to be. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near a golf course. But I realized that, man, my hard work doesn't get unnoticed here. Ooh. And I was like, man, I get to communicate with some really, affluent people. Ooh. All right. What am I going to do with it? Honestly, the resources at the country club opened up the Evan Scholar opportunity to me, because I was just a young high school boy riding my bike 3 miles in the summer mornings for 2 years straight to go caddy at 6:30, 7:30 in the morning. So, what is your journey? What is your hard? What is the obstacles you need to overcome to get to your destination? Because for me, I didn't see any obstacles. I only saw opportunities. And because I came to the golf course with such enthusiasm and work ethic, they opened up this opportunity to become a Chick Evans Scholar. And the funny thing, Tom, I'll just put this real quick. They do a little caddy interview after you submit. They do a caddy interview, and I was one of 31 in the state of Michigan. And they do these in-person interviews. You stand at a podium, they professionally introduce you, and you're in a room of about 100 people. I thought it was more competitive. I thought they were choosing one. I think they're choosing maybe 3 or 4 or 5. I see so many people. I'm competitive. This is my lifeline. And honestly, I just had to take a step back and realize I was like, I should be humbled in the grace of my competitors. I shouldn't put a front on. I should be engaging and interactive, and I should, be humbled in this experience. And that taught me a lot that day was, you choose your enemies wisely and learn from them as well. And I realized that everyone there was actually not an enemy. They were a friend, friends that I went on to make great memories with. So, yeah, it was a very beautiful opportunity. And I just wanted to share that one piece with you, because that is the true trademark of the Evans Scholars program. Is character, scholarship, and servitude is so important from the things that I've learned from that experience in itself.
Servant leadership will guide you through your whole life for sure. Our guest today, everybody, is Devian Johnson. Dev Johnson, Future Stars, Journey into and Out of Higher Ed. Dev is a recent graduate from Michigan State University, works for the Board of Water and Light. You are an organizational change management analyst with the Board of Water and Light, but you do a lot of motivational work over there with them. And what I'd like to say, and I'm going to just real quickly, I'd like to get your input on if students, and we got a minute to go here, so make your answer tight. But is there opportunities for other students that are in high school to apply as an Evans Scholar?
Yeah, the applications go from open in the summertime and October 31st. So, anyone 7th, 8th grade, freshman, sophomore, junior in high school, get your caddy loops in. And then by the time you're a senior, you can apply fall of your senior year.
So that's it. And I mean, it's a full ride, everybody. And Dev is not the first student that I've come across that I have coached at Michigan State University who was an Evans Scholar. I mean, I'll look up the kid's name because I know that you know him. But I'll say it in the next segment because we're going to come up on this thing. Let me reset everything here. Future Stars, Journey into and Out of Higher Ed with Devian Johnson. Dev is a great guy. You can tell that he is very humble. When he says he wants to attach his purpose to what he's doing in his life, I've seen this young man doing this for the last 4 or 5 years. He's the kind of kid that we want to put on here, a young man that just gets it done and walks his walk. That's Dev Johnson. Future Stars, Journey into and Out of Higher Ed. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us this week on the Tom Matt Show, however you're picking us up. On the podcast, on the broadcast, I want to thank Gene Wright. I didn't say Gene's name last time because I'm going to say it now. Gene Wright from Williamston. Gene, how you doing? She listens to us on WKAR every Sunday. We're on WKAR AM and FM over there at Michigan State University. every Sunday at 5. And we're so proud to be on at the university that I call my alma mater. I have 2 degrees from the university. I'm so happy to be there. I want to do a testimonial for Brock Fletcher. Again, the phone numbers for Brock Fletcher, 517-853-6408, or Brock's cell phone number, 517-303-3262. Okay? 3262, 303-3262. So I found out about Joan. Joan was talking to Brock about something, and it came up. You can also go to the kwsellingteam.com website. Nice website. Go to our website. Nice website. And pick up at the bottom of the homepage from there. My testimonial personally, and I've given this before, but not to this length, was when I first met Brock at the radio station in Lansing at Town Square Media. And I didn't know him from Adam. And he just said, the time is coming to sell your big house. He knew we were in Big House Holt. We've been in Big House Holt for 20 years. We built that place from dirt. And it was our wonderful, 1 in a million home that we would have we loved that place. It was so awesome. It was beautiful, beautiful house, built-in pool, all the landscaping, everything we did all of it ourselves. Our forever home. Not so much, not so fast, young man, as they say on SportsCenter. Not so fast. Everybody's forever home sometimes can change, and most of the time it does, and that's what happened with us because I got good advice from Brock Fletcher. And he said, the time to come to sell that place is coming quickly. And I didn't want to tell Sandy that at all, being the coward that I am with her sometimes. And you know how you don't want to tell your wife hey, let's sell your favorite thing that you just spent 20 years building, and we're gonna dump it. And we're gonna go find some small place. Yeah, they didn't go over very well. Although with Brock's help, it did, because he got the number. He found us Little House Lansing with Mike Deadman's help, and the rest is history. Again, that's our testimony because we trust them, we love them, and they are the bomb. So please. If you're in that market, if you're trying to get some advice, if you're trying to find some information, go listen to the podcast. Go listen to the Reality of Real Estate. There's, like I said earlier, 20 some episodes on it. We cover that topic very thoroughly. It's big, 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 big. Okay, back to our episode today with my guest, Dev Johnson, Future Stars, Journey into and Out of Higher Ed. Typically, we do the Journey into Higher Ed in talking about how you found yourself at Michigan State. Kind of covered that a little bit, but now we're going to cover the minefields and the good and the bad that Dev, as a former student, a very, very good student who got himself a career right out of college. Let's talk about minefields in college, and then we can talk about the professional end of how you developed your rapport, your presence, because you have a very strong, very upfront presence. I'm sure that the Evans Scholar and all of that work you did with them helped you a lot. But let's talk first about the minefields coming into college, not knowing it's a big jump from high school. Go ahead, Dev. Please share your experience.
Yeah, minefields. The worst thing about a minefield is, Tom, and I love this, is you don't know when you're going to blow until you take your step. All right. So like you're saying, the first step is to take the step. All right. And first and foremost, I'll just say this. I left my mom's house at about 17. My father passed away, unfortunately, when I was 13. So I was stepping in to something where I had the world against me. I had every obstacle, out for me. You're an independent kid. You on a financial scholarship. COVID. We can't forget about that one as well. So what are you going to do to make the best out of the rest of the time that you got? Because for those out there listening right now, it's like, what if you had a life-altering experience happen to you tomorrow? How would you respond? How would you step into it? So as a freshman coming out, and sorry to hear about your dad as a young boy, 13-year-old, it's not that young, but it's pretty young. You had, let's just say, obstacles. How did you manage to stay focused? Was it the gym? Was it time management? What were some of the tips and tricks that you learned? Were there some people that you got with, older adults perhaps? Well, there's a million of them. Was there special buildings that you went to? Please share that experience, Dev. Yeah, first and foremost, I have to say I have a phenomenal great grandfather. His name is Fred Bond, like James Bond. All right. And, he has been the North Star of a lot of my character development. He's in his early 70s. For all of you who were born in the 50s, we're a part of the baby boomer age. You guys are still rocking it. You guys are still kicking it. And what I love most about that generation, Tom, is their work ethic. Man, these baby boomers still alive nowadays can run circles around some of the people my age. So that's the number one thing is stay moving. And when I got to college, I never stopped. All right. I never stopped moving. My motor never turned off. Were there times where my motor idled? Yeah, you got to let the motor sit in. You got to chill sometimes. You got to relax, enjoy the view, but that car never stops. When my engine was on, I kept the keys in. All right. That's why the front shield on your car is so much bigger than the rear view mirror, So for me, it was always looking at what's in front. What was in front for me? All right. Let's talk about some of the specifics. I had the Evans Scholarship cohort at Michigan State. It's just cohort of almost 90 students. The first thing that I did was I wanted to solidify myself as a leader in this environment. Now, in order to be a leader, you have to be selected and voted in. So not only was I voted into an assistant role, I also was voted into, and I was the successor of that of which I was an assistant for. That program that I eventually ran was called our new Scholar Educator. Now imagine this. People listening, imagine you have to corral 21 new freshmen on a college campus, and it's your responsibility for them to succeed academically, all right? How would you feel about that? You'd be like, oh, man, I got another day where I got one kid showing up late, another kid thinks it's high school and he thinks he can turn his homework in late, and you got one kid who's skipping class. Like, how do you respond to people who knows that they have an opportunity at their hands, but they don't know exactly how special it is? I was taught that leadership best exemplified is by being the example, all right? So I had to show them, hey, I double majored. I had 18 credits. I also had an on-campus job. And I have this role of being a leader and leading these people to show them what academic success looks like. Now, I'm going to show up every day with a smile on my face, enthusiastic. And whenever they want to throw something back at me, my grandfather taught me to kill them with kindness. And every obstacle I ever faced in college, I killed people with kindness. And honestly, Matt, I'll say this real quick is when it comes to navigating the college life, what are you willing to say no to? Because there's a lot of things I said yes to in my first year, sophomore year, first year on campus, post-COVID. You got to say yes. You got to try some things, all right? But after you start saying yes to a bunch of things, it makes your no's less valuable, And then the reverse started to happen. I started saying no to a lot more things, and that started making my yeses more valuable, So in college, it wasn't about what am I saying yes or saying no to. It's like, I know I'm going to make a decision on this thing, and how much energy, one, and time, two, am I willing to give this? Because it has a valuable return of that energy and time. I started to think about college super, super logically, It's not about time management. It's about priority management. I took 18 credits, double majored, and I did some professional research. Come on now. What are we here to do? Are we here to pick peaches? Or are we here to pick the whole apple orchard? And what are we going to do once we've picked these things up and we've tasted the fruits of our labor? What are we going to do? I decided to give it my all, full ride scholarship, leader, inside and outside. I have to give my all.
I'm going to put a long pause on that one and just let that sink in, all right? Okay, this young man, is why I love this young man so much. He's got it going on. These guys that I bring on this episode, and then the young women as well, they're all stars. They're all top notch. And they find their place in the world, and it's amazing to see how well they do. We're going to talk more about the journey into and out of higher ed, and we're also going to drop in a little bit of David Goggins. Because you know what? People that can quote Goggins, we're coming from the same place. You're listening to The Tom Matt Show.
This segment of The Tom Matt Show is brought to you in part by The Source of Light and Power by band leader Archival and broadcaster Mitch Anderson. Hear the sound that is endorsed by Odyssey headphones, linear tube audio, RME converters, and Peluso microphones at sourceoflightandpower.bandcamp.com.
Welcome to The Tom Matt Show,
Welcome back, everybody. Having a great time today. Dev Johnson's with me. Knew this was going to be strong, super strong. Devian Johnson, future star, journey into and out of higher ed. Why would I say that? Well, because I met Dev at Michigan State University in the gym of all places. Imagine that. It's where I meet all these guys and girls. It's the place. And we have our lunches and we have our meetings and then we have our little brainstorming sessions and then whatever comes out, comes out. You know, when you have the positive energy, you find these people. It's sort of like the law of attraction will bring these people to you. Be ready to be accepting when they come. And I'm telling you that from an older adult's perspective to a younger adult. For the younger adults, don't be afraid to approach. And the older adults, don't be afraid to be there, be kind, don't be judgmental, and watch what they're doing and offer advice and invite them into your life. They want to learn. They want to do good things. All right, Dev, before we go much farther with this thing, because I want to talk about lots of different things now with how you managed to become such a rock star at your young age. How do you want people to connect with you on speaking engagements, outreach, coaching sessions? I mean, you can do everything. I mean, your social media is amazing. Go ahead. Take as much time as you need.
Yeah, simply put, the best way to contact me is through my social media. I have a couple different avenues. You can hit me at Devian Inspires on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. The YouTube is especially, you can check some of my older stuff out. You can also just find my regular pages, Devian Johnson on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I'm actually the type of guy where you can Google me, and I guarantee some of my high school photos going to pop up, my high school highlight reels going to pull up, all of my social medias are going to pull up. I'm working on 2 more things, though. You can find a new channel on YouTube called The Human Capital Advantage. Now, that's where you get to hear more about my insights on how to develop your human potential, how to communicate better, how to take your current skill set and monetize it, market it. And you can also find me on a website called devianjohnson.wordpress.com.
See what I'm saying, everybody? We'll get all of those links from Dev. I'll make sure that he sends those over to me so that we can include those in the recap. Make sure that I include all that so they can click right on through here. Minefields. We're talking about minefields in college. There's millions of them. Dev, has it been surprising to you? And for those that aren't local around here, might lose you for a second here. But in East Lansing proper, this last school year, since I've been kind of laid up with my knees and stuff and getting ready to get back out into my thing, I've been watching the news and everything very closely, social media very closely, and I see all of these traffic and all these people and all this stuff going on out at East Lansing, and it's just packed. What do you think's going on, Dev, with all of that? Is it just people are just discovering East Lansing, or is it a good thing, a bad thing? What do you feel? It's
opportunity. It's the evergreen of Michigan State that attracts people to come around and stay around for a while. You know, I like to say any publicity is good publicity. You know, right or wrong, there definitely is a line there. But I feel like the way Michigan State has always been talked about since the breakthrough of the 2020s, people just want to see it, believe it, experience it for themselves.
Be part of the whole culture. And that's what I was hoping you'd say, because, you get a lot of people who are kind of down on it. It's all so crowded and to cover. Well, it's because it's very popular, and you can meet a lot of good people. It's not all bad. There's a lot of good. So check it out. Be careful. Do what you're going to do, but always manage your life with a looking into the forward, because one of my favorite sayings, Dev, is choices have consequences. Let's talk about choices have consequences. Let's talk about your learning from David Goggins. What have you learned from David Goggins and some of the things that choices have consequences that he's gone through? What are some of the things that you follow in your life that really resonate from David Goggins? Because I'm a huge Goggins fan myself, as you know.
Yeah. So first and foremost, Goggins' slogan, he has many, but one that stands with me the oldest in my heart is his book. His first one's titled Can't Hurt Me. Have such an impenetrable mental fortitude that anything that anyone says or does cannot hurt me. And that is the number one mentality that I hold to myself. And honestly, as a person of action, David Goggins will be the first person to tell you sometimes the things that you're doing, it's not going to count. All right. So I started to have this mentality that I'm going to work every day. And some days when I show up, it counts. And other days when I show up, the world just doesn't let it count. And that is out of your control. And I think that's the biggest thing about Goggins is, it's not your plan, it's God's plan. But as long as you're still breathing, living, and you can take that first step, God will kind of show you where you need to go. And I really, truly believe in that. And I really, truly believe that the words that you speak in some essences are really God's words. When Goggins says, who gonna carry them boats? Who gonna lift these logs? That's him. That's Goggins' avatar, but that's really God's voice coming out of him to empower, inspire, and show those that are opposed to him that there's no way that you can't hurt me.
Those are all out of the book. I'm telling you, I'm laughing as I'm listening to Dev recite from memory some of the things that I haven't read in a long time. I've gifted that book to many people. Can't Hurt Me with David Goggins is a masterpiece in how to overcome and get better, because everybody sees the David Goggins in the videos of this ripped dude who does all these pull-ups and all this stuff. But David Goggins was one big overweight man for a long time, and he had a really rough life. And he pulled himself out of the gutter. And the guy that you see, right, Dev? The guy that you see is not the man that in the beginning of that book. I mean, did that surprise you much?
It truly did. And one of the things that surprised me the most was he has a hole in his heart. So at any point in his journey, going through Budge training 3 times, his heart could have gave out. I mean, God, man, tell me you're a miracle without telling me you're a miracle.
Yeah, he's amazing. He is a totally amazing guy. And I don't know how many people you've turned on over at the Evans Scholars into that book, but I'm sure there's a few of your classmates that have gone through that. It's a great read, and he's just a good guy to follow. Okay, so we're talking about leadership. I want to talk a little bit more about your great grandfather. You called him your North Star. I didn't write down his name, and I want you to say his name again for me. Great grandfather.
Fred Bond. Fred Bond, like James Bond.
Fred Bond. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Fred Bond a little bit, because as we are growing older, we need to embrace these lessons that you're giving us, young man, about how impactful your North Star was with Fred Bond. And so Fred Bond being your great grandfather, talk about some more of the lessons that you learned from him. We got a couple minutes before we go to break here. Fill in that gap with more stories on your grandfather.
Yeah, so this is the first thing I'll say is I graduate, first person from my family to get a 4-year degree scholarship, and this is what was put on my bed from my grandfather. It's evolution of a college student. You have freshman, sophomore, junior, and then dodo. And that was just a simple reminder from my grandpa, who went to trade school, that it doesn't matter how many years of education you have, it matters what you do with it. And that was his true purpose in expressing to one of his most accomplished grandkids that, hey, still be humble with your experiences and know that your degrees don't really mean anything. It's what you do with them is what means something. I just had to take the time just to put that out there and pause for a second, because that communication over generations is something that you don't see too often. I don't know how many people my age still get to communicate or connect with their grandpas or their grandmas. But the one thing that I can say is shut up and listen, because I have this natural curiosity and I like to ask questions and then just shut up and listen. And that is the beauty of just one in itself is life, but that is the beauty too of real connection. If you really want to connect with somebody outside of your generation, you listen to them, ask them a thought-provoking question. They have seen so much more of the world over time than you. And honestly, my grandfather, Tom, you'll actually like this guy, man. He got double knee surgery, and about a week or 2 from post-surgery, he was already outside trimming the hedges. I'm like, what are you doing? So again, going back to just this relationship, it's just this constant nagging positivity. It's this over encumbersome level of curiosity. And third of all, it's this never ending engine. And that is what I've gotten from my grandfather, who is the third. He's Fred Bond the third, so of his generational lineage. And he's a rocket in a bottle. And whenever we get around, it's the best time.
Those are the kind of stories that we love on this radio program. Dev Johnson's our guest, everybody. I'm going to reset this thing. We're going to go to our break for a final segment. Future Stars, Journey into and Out of Higher Ed with Devian Johnson. We're going to talk about Dev's career and how he found himself in this role at the Board of Water and Light. What is it all encompassing? Let him throw some love to his department and his job and what he loves about it, how he manages to still get his workouts in, how he still manages to have his food, how he still manages to take care of his body and his brain and everything else that goes along with it, because he's so in tune with his physical fitness. This is the guy you want leading your team. Dev Johnson, Future Stars, Journey into Higher Ed. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Thank you again to Brock Fletcher, real estate agent at the selling team with Keller Williams Realty. For more information on services provided by Brock, please call his personal cell phone at 517-303-3262 or by emailing Brock at kwsellingteam.com. This is the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome to the Tom Matt Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Segment 5, my favorite segment of the show. WKAR carries this exclusively. Some of the radio stations carry it, but WKAR always carries the 5th segment. And the only other way to get the 5th segment is through the podcast. And if you missed any portion of the show, like I said earlier in the episode, go to our website, tommattshow.com. At the very beginning, you'll see of the very front of our homepage, our blue buttons that are navigation buttons for all the ways of listening to all of the providers for the podcast, okay, for the radio program, however you want to think of it. Podcast, radio program, podcast. Some people like the video, whatever. I'm finding a lot of people like the Apple, a lot of people like the Google Play, but a lot of people like Spotify. And so that's cool. Great. Go get it over there. All those buttons are there and they can work for you. And all of the previous episodes, we break up the website into the categories with all the little cartoons. This episode with Dev Johnson will be definitely under our Spartan Sagas category, that little tile that we have there, because he's a Spartan. All right. Going back into your work here, Dev, you graduated from college. You're an Evans Scholar. You earned your way through college by caddying, of all things. And if you missed any portion of that, everybody, please go back and listen to the earlier segments, because we talked about that early in the show, how Dev, as an Evans Scholar, and what is an Evans Scholar, and how he got a full ride to Michigan State University. So you're finishing your full ride. You got all that pressure on you to finish that full ride. There's a lot of pressure on you because you have to perform and you have to maintain a certain GPA. So you've talked about that a little bit, and you're what I like to call is chunking of time. I'm a time chunker. If you got 5 minutes, get the book out, do a little reading, read one page, read one paragraph, whatever. Now you're finding yourself applying, you're graduating, you're an HR graduate. Let's take everybody through that process of a senior, because we got, coming soon, another class of kids that's going to be graduating from Michigan State. And it can be a little bit of like we talked earlier, minefields as far as labor and work. So take everybody through your process. How did you wind up in the position you're at? But I'm sure it was a progression of things, but go ahead, start that way.
Yeah, loaded question. And, I love these types of questions. So, I took a huge risk on myself. I wanted to throw myself in the deep end of these corporate companies, and I wanted to get as much work, as many connections, and as many touch points with work connections. I wanted data. That's basically, for any of you who are listening, who are college students at any level, your North Star should be, how do I get more data points? How do I get more data points in corporate? How do I get more data points from this class? How do I get more data points from this after-school activity, research, whatever it may be, all right? The more data you have, the more that you can speak from, and most importantly, the more that you can go back and analyze. That was the first thing that I did, was I got as much data as possible. The second thing that I did was I came out of college, spring of 2024. It was a very awesome experience. My April, all the seniors who are almost there, you're going to know that your April is just a mess. People coming in, people going, you got spring break, you got this, you got that. I had to keep my head on straight, because I realized that my real test starts right after this. And like we started out the show, Tom, it was, where most people's journeys end, that's where mine starts. So for me, it was all about, after graduating, identifying my next 5 steps. All right. Now, how did I do that? I actually read a book called Your Next 5 Steps by Patrick Bet-David. And for those of you who don't know, I'll just tell this. Pick up a dang book. Any of you, your seniors out there, any of you juniors, pick a book up, please. Pick it up. Any college student, for that matter, pick a damn book up and read it. Listen to an audiobook. Like, give yourself more knowledge. I realized that the first fight I had to make was self-education, because the moment you stop educating yourself, you are on a slow decline that's going to be really hard to come back from. I set 5 steps, and in those 5 steps, I identified what I wanted to do, where I wanted to work, how much I was willing to be paid, and what are my non-negotiables. And within those steps, the last step I had to make was, when do I want this job by? My mentality was, next 30 days, I'm getting a job. Did it happen in the 30 days? No. But I was ready for when that job came around, the next 30 days, when I seen it, I was going to believe it, to capture it, and for it to be mine. So it's a mental brainwashing of yourself. When you leave college and you hit the real world, you have to really morph and mold your mind. Because if you aren't, then something somewhere out there will. The next thing I'll say to this in terms of progression, is that your network, your social circle, you are the average of the 5 people in your circle. So who are you hanging around? Who's bringing you up? Who's potentially could bring you down? And idealistically, how can you get around other people to enlarge in your social circle? All right. I'm big on networking. And that was the number one thing that I kept doing after graduating, was I continued to network, shake hands, meet people. And Kanye West has this amazing line. He says, anyone can sell anything if you know how to communicate it. So my number one tip to all of you out there is, if you can communicate who you are and what things you can provide, what value, you can go so far in life. And that doesn't stop at any age. I'll tell you this, Matt, getting my experience into corporate America, working for the Board of Water and Light, it was, oh my gosh. That's literally how it was. I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is really it. I was like, I'm here. This is awesome. Now, what are you going to do while you're here? And that's what the oh my gosh was, is, oh my gosh, I have an opportunity to showcase my skills. Now, oh my gosh, Devian, how are you going to show up every day and do it?
How was the competition for that role, Dev? That was a big get for you. That was a big jump. Yeah. How was the comp on that? That was not a slam dunk.
The transparency on this, and it's difficult sometimes when you get to corporate America, because you typically work on a need to know basis. However, I got to learn about some of the applicants, and every single other applicant had more technical skill than me. Every single one, they did. But you know what they didn't have? They didn't have the personality fit,
the juice.
They didn't have the mindset fit. So that's what I brought to the table, and a willingness to learn, adapt, and apply. And that's what they were really looking for.
That is such a good tip. Willingness to learn, adapt, and
apply.
That's the whole purpose, everybody, that if you're not going to make the application, if you're going to fill out the application, you're going to go in, but you're going to go in it with a half-baked mindset. Well, I'm not going to get this. Or you have the limiting beliefs, because I'm all about kicking limiting beliefs to the curb, just like Dev Johnson is. There's no limit. Limiting beliefs they're there. Of course they're there, but we're not going to let them dominate what we do, because we're all about enabling beliefs. We're all about what's going to be happening here in the future. What are we going to be doing? How are we going to be doing this? Give me a couple minutes on the job, and then let's get your takeaway. Talk about the job.
Coming up on this week, we have one more week until I'll be 1 year at the job.
Congratulations.
And I'll tell you what, thank you so much. I'll tell you this, all right? What I've done in my first year, most people probably don't get to do in their first 3 years. All right. I've walked in the rooms of high schools and spoken to students, encouraged them about blue collar work, and empowered them to overcome their circumstances. What I've been able to do is I've been able to, be a liaison for the 501 Grand River connection That is a local professional development, organization that works with the city of Lansing to bring more professionals, young professionals, and more networking opportunities to the area. And then third of all, I've just been everywhere. I like to work from this perspective that, sometimes someone doesn't need to have to ask. You just should already assume that, yes, your assistance, your support is needed. So I've been a really strong rallying force to get in the community, whether if it's 5K runs. I've probably ran about 4 this fall, and BWL sponsored 2 out of the 4 of them. They do local volunteering events. And not only did I get to go to Sexton High School in Lansing, but I was also a part of some recruiting efforts for our First Step program. For all of the high school listeners out there, we have a First Step program, and I've been able to help advocate and recruit high school students to come and apply to this, career opportunity that we have for young, minds. So for me, excellence isn't what you do. Excellence is who you are.
I need that takeaway, man, and I got some people I want to introduce you to. A professor at LCC. I'll talk to you about it off air, but I need your takeaway here because we're gonna wrap this bad boy up. Dev Johnson's been our guest today, everybody.
Let's do it.
He's the man. We're calling this one Future Stars Journey into and Out of Higher Ed. Dev, what's your takeaway for this episode?
Honestly, for those listening, I hope that you find my voice, soothing and exciting. I hope that it pumps your heart up. But this is what I have to say. All right. Your character is all you have in life. You can do whatever you want with it, but it's what people will know the most. And honestly, when you have a winning character and other people see you winning, they will help you win more. And the last part on this is character is fate. Your character is your fate. So you can grow your character. You can, apply your character. You can develop, customize your character, customize your life. All right. That is the takeaway from this Tom Matt show today. And I hope that you've gotten those points from me is that, whatever the world gives you, you take with it and do it what you want, but give it right back. And that's what the world wants. More people that's willing to fight the fight. Absolutely.
Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. Thanks again to Devian Johnson for being my guest. Sandy, Craig, Brock, Fletcher, everybody, have a great weekend. Go out and ignite your life. Remember, the Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life. Please look at the selling team of Keller Williams Realty at 517-303-3262 and get a hold of Brock. All of this. Reach out to Devian Johnson. He's a good guy, and we will be talking more about introducing him to more people so that he can help make your life better. Again, thank you again to Mitch Anderson and Vanessa for what they do. I'm Tom Matt. Been a pleasure hosting this show for you every day. Thank you, everybody. I am out.
The Tom Matt Show is produced by Mitch Anderson of Black Circle Studios. Original music from the Source of Light and Power by the Arc of All.